Is China holding back rare earth magnets from companies tied to the U.S. military right now?
Yeah, Maria, I think that Wall Street Journal reporting is not very accurate. We haven't even finished the agreement, which we hope to have done by Thanksgiving. And I am confident that post our meeting in Korea between the two leaders, President Trump, President Xi, that China will honor their agreement. And if they don't, we have lots of levers.
Well, you told me after the meeting that you would likely have something signed the following week. We spoke right after that meeting in October. Are you saying that you do not expect the Chinese Communist Party to hold back rare earth minerals from military-related companies in America?
I am saying the agreement is that the magnets will flow freely as they did before April 4th.
Are you expecting them to resume the purchases of soybeans, or are they going to double-cross us on that as well?
Maria, we have lots of levers, and again, they've already started the purchases of soybeans. They've agreed for this buying season to buy 12 million tons, 25 million tons for the next 3 years after that, so a total of 87 million.
All right, that's Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent with me yesterday, saying he's confident that Beijing will uphold the promise on rare earths and soybean purchases. Joining me now is Gatestone Institute Senior Fellow Gordon Chang. Gordon, good to see you. I guess I was skeptical, given that China has let us down so many times, and there was new reporting last week from the Wall Street Journal that they were holding back those rare earth minerals to any company tied to the Pentagon.
Yes, and there's a technical and a strategic issue in just what the Treasury Secretary said. The technical one is that there is a November 1 fact sheet issued by the White House which says that China will remove the October 9th end-user validation arrangement that it put in place. And in addition, the White House said that China will remove all rare earth restrictions put in place during the last 23 months. So we got to see if this Thanksgiving agreement matches the terms of the fact sheet. The strategic issue is that it's now clear that China is not meeting its soybean purchase requirements. And so the issue is, why should we be trying to document one part of the October 30 deal when China's made it clear that it's not going to honor the other part of it, which is soybeans?
Yeah, but I mean, there's also the Financial Times reporting, right? I mean, the FT reported last week that Alibaba is helping the Chinese military attack the U.S. in a cyber way, and that this was from a White House memo. Yes,
and then the thing here is that why should we allow Alibaba on our exchanges? Why should we allow Americans to deal with Alibaba? It should be on the entity list.
Yeah.
You know, our friend Roger Robinson has been talking about this for quite some time.
Yeah, he sure has.
We know that all Chinese companies are related to the Chinese military under the doctrine of military-civil fusion. So, yes, we need to get Alibaba off our exchanges immediately.
Yes. Do you believe that we can actually trust China in any of these deals? I mean, look, I recognize President Trump is walking a balance here, doesn't want to push China too far because we're very reliant on the supply chain out of China right now. But they haven't exactly been a good partner for the United States.
No, and they've violated every agreement with us, trade and otherwise. And they violated the Phase 1 trade deal of January 2020 that President Trump put in place. So they don't have a great track record with us. And that means the United States, if it's going to have an agreement with China, and that's a big if, we need to make sure that we use all of our leverage. And so far, we have not done so, as Treasury Secretary Bessent just said. We're not using a lot of our leverage right now.
Yes. Well, the U.S. is also facing this military technology race with China in the air and at sea. The U.S. Air Force moving on the next generation of F-47 fighter. While China scrambles to catch up, China is in the lead in the commercial drone market. But the word is that does not necessarily give them a military advantage. Beijing is wrapping up the first trial of its newest amphibious assault ship. That happened on Friday. It can launch both aircraft and landing craft, Gordon. The U.S. already has more amphibious assault vessels than China, but Beijing is ahead in overall shipbuilding and Navy size. President Trump has talked about getting the U.S. back into shipbuilding quite significantly just in the last few months, Gordon. Your thoughts?
President Trump deserves a lot of credit for ramping up American shipbuilding in a number of different ways, including partnerships with other countries such as South Korea at the Philadelphia boat yard. There are a lot of other things that the Trump administration is doing, and this is something that the Biden administration should have done. There was an obvious danger then and didn't do. So what we're seeing right now is a major upgrading of our ability to build ships. We built ships one a day in World War II, and we're nowhere near that now. And also, we've got a broken Navy, a Navy that the admirals just can't seem to administer well. We need a clean out there, and I think Secretary Hegseth is in the process of doing that.
Well, one thing that President Trump has been very effective at in terms of China is gathering allies to work with the United States. I mean, look what just happened with Japan. And the president had that great meeting with the new prime minister of Japan when he was in Asia 2 weeks ago. Now Japan is trying to de-escalate its issue with the new prime minister, Sanai Takahashi, telling lawmakers that a Chinese attack on Taiwan that threatens Japan could trigger a military response. The prime minister said this 1 week after meeting with Xi Jinping, agreeing to pursue stable bilateral ties. China is now demanding that she retract her statement while urging Chinese citizens not to travel to Japan. Beijing is also hinting at imposing sanctions on Japan, including restricting trade and suspending economic ties with Japan, Gordon. What did she say so wrong? That if they invade Taiwan and it impacts Japan, then it would trigger a response?
On November 7th, the prime minister correctly said that the Chinese invasion of Taiwan would require a mobilization of Japan's self-defense forces. She has also said after that if China were to attack American ships that were trying to run a Taiwan blockade, that Japan would also have to come to the aid of the United States. Those are two very important statements. The Chinese are enraged. What it does is that Japan said, I'm not afraid of China, basically saying, look, if China invades Taiwan, it's not going to be able to isolate the island. It's going to have countries in the region come to Taiwan's aid. And that is a very important statement. Now, the Chinese reaction, including that maritime enforcement patrol yesterday at the Senkaku Islands, also, the Chinese Consul General's statement that he wants to assassinate the Japanese prime minister if she decides to go forward and help Taiwan. That's completely unacceptable. And we need to hear the United States say that because Japan is our ally and supporting us. We need to support Japan, too.
Yep, great point. All right, we will leave it there. Gordon, always great to catch up. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Maria.
Gordon Chang. We'll be right back. Stay with us.